Hello students, welcome back. We will continue with our chapter physical and chemical changes. We had learned about a few physical and chemical changes in the previous classes. In this video we will learn about the rest of them. So let us have a look at the different kinds of chemical changes that we will be learning in this video. First, let us have a look at burning of magnesium ribbon. So magnesium is a metal and magnesium ribbons are available in the market. So what is going to take place? What chemical change are we going to learn in this particular slide? Magnesium ribbon burns in air with a dazzling light forming magnesium oxide. We have to understand, we have to know, it's a known fact that magnesium as a metal burns in air, that is in the presence of oxygen, with a dazzling light forming magnesium oxide. It looks like the crackers you burst during Diwali. Now the ash of magnesium oxide that is obtained after burning the magnesium ribbon gives magnesium hydroxide when mixed with water. We will learn more about it when we discuss the activity, but let us have a look at this first, that the magnesium oxide, after burning the magnesium ribbon you get ash, and this ash of magnesium oxide reacts to form magnesium hydroxide with water. So see what is happening. A ribbon that was solid is undergoing change, reacting with oxygen, which is a gas, and forming magnesium oxide. The ash of magnesium oxide, it mixes with water. Solid mixes with liquid to form magnesium hydroxide, which is also a liquid in state. So these are all chemical changes because chemical properties are changing, the states are changing, as well as the chemical components, the chemical composition of the individual elements are also changing. Magnesium hydroxide turns blue litmus red, showing its basic. So as we go further with our syllabus of class 7, we will learn about how to identify an acid and a base. Learn this right now, that there is a particular paper called a litmus paper which can either be blue or red in color. In order to test that magnesium hydroxide is basic or acidic, a blue litmus paper is used. Blue litmus paper turns red if the solution is basic. Red litmus paper turns blue if the solution is acidic. Now let us have a look at the reactions that are taking place. You will have to remember and memorize these reactions. Look over here. Magnesium ribbon, like I said, reacting with the oxygen from the air forms magnesium oxide, which is MgO. And this MgO reacts with H2O, that is water, to form magnesium hydroxide, which is MgOH whole 2. You will have to remember these, and we will learn about solving new chemical formulas and equations in the further chapters. So do not worry. Now let us have a look at this activity. It's written that this activity needs teachers' assistance and the children or the students should have eye protection. So what are we doing in this activity? A magnesium ribbon about 2 cm long is taken. It is cut and it is taken. It is cleaned by rubbing it with a sandpaper. It is held with a pair of tongs. If you have seen sharashi at your home, that is basically a sort of a tong. Burn it using a spirit lamp. So a spirit lamp is lighted and the magnesium ribbon held with a tong is being held in the spirit lamp's flame. Why is it being held with a tong? So that your fingers don't get burned. Burn it using a spirit lamp and collect the ash so formed. So after burning, see that the petri dish is collecting the magnesium oxide ash. Burn the magnesium ribbon, keeping it as far as possible from your eyes. And they have asked that what you observe. Well, the observation is that this ash that is being collected in the petri dish is magnesium oxide. Magnesium ribbon, which is a solid, which is when burned in the flame, comes in contact with oxygen in the air and forms magnesium oxide. And this magnesium oxide, when mixed in water, forms magnesium hydroxide, which is basic in nature. Reaction between solution of copper sulfate and iron. This is also a very important slide. So copper sulfate solution or blue vitriol, it is blue in color. It gets its name from the blue color only. Blue vitriol, it's another name. When an iron nail is kept in it, after some time the solution changes to pale green in color. Look into the picture, you will get a better understanding. This happens due to formation of iron sulfate. A layer of brown copper gets deposited on the iron nail. So what is happening? When iron nails are put in copper sulfate solution, the iron is replacing the copper in the solution and taking its place. Hence what we are getting is, we are getting a solution of iron sulfate, and that is why the color is changing, because iron sulfate is pale green in color and a layer of copper is being deposited on the iron nail. If iron is replacing the copper, then where is the copper going? The copper is being deposited on the iron nail. Let us have a look at this activity. What are we doing in this activity? Take about 10 grams of powdered copper sulfate crystals in a boiling tube. So copper sulfate is obtained as crystals in the laboratory. So 10 grams of copper sulfate is being taken in a test tube or a boiling tube, and 25 ml of water and 5 drops of dilute sulfuric acid is added to it. Water and dilute sulfuric acid is available in the laboratories. So in the boiling tube they are added. Stir the solution to dissolve copper until you get a clear blue colored solution. So the mixture is to be stirred properly so that we get this copper sulfate solution which is blue in color. Place a clean shining iron nail in the solution of copper sulfate. So an iron nail is put inside the copper sulfate solution and leave the boiling tube undisturbed on a test tube stand. After 1 or 2 hours, what are we going to observe? We have to see that if there is any change in color of the solution and if there is any change in the appearance of the nail. So the change in color that will take place is the color of the copper sulfate solution changes into pale green when observed after few hours. And what will be the appearance of the nail? The nail will turn coppery in color because of the deposition of the copper on the nail. Now let us have a look at some of the characteristics of chemical change. During a chemical change, one or more new substances are formed. Like we have discussed before, that it may result in the formation of one or more new substances. Chemical changes are usually permanent. They cannot be reversed by physical methods. During a chemical change, relatively larger amount of heat, light or any other radiation may be given out or absorbed. So in physical change we had seen that very little amount of energy or no amount of energy is given out or absorbed. But in chemical change, larger amount of heat or any other form of energy is given out or absorbed. During the chemical change, both the physical and chemical properties of the substance are changed. So both physical and chemical properties when are changing, that is called a chemical change. What are the importance of chemical changes? Chemical changes help in formation of new substances. Very well, we know this. Breathing, circulation, excretion and all other life processes that are taking part in your body, all are chemical changes. Most of the discoveries from metals to medicines are all results of chemical changes. So chemical changes in general are very, very important. Let us have a look at the differences between physical and chemical changes. In a physical change, only physical properties change, like color, state, shape, texture, etc. The chemical properties do not change. But in a chemical change, the chemical composition and chemical properties undergo change. In physical change, no substances, no new substances are formed. In chemical change, one or more new substances are formed. The original form of the substance can be obtained easily by simple physical methods if it is a physical change. But in chemical change, the original substance cannot be obtained by simple physical methods. Physical change is temporary, like we have learned before. It may be reversed, but chemical change is a permanent change. It cannot be reversed under conditions. And in physical change, energy is neither evolved nor absorbed. But in chemical change, energy is either evolved or absorbed. This is a very, very important slide. So keep memorizing these points. And these points are just a summary of what we have covered till now. I have given a picture of some physical and chemical changes like melting of ice, chopping of wood, mixing of grey and green marbles or tearing of paper. These are all physical changes. because no chemical change or change in chemical composition is taking place, and neither any new substances are being formed. And what are chemical changes? Burning of wood, rotting of a banana, fireworks, mixing vinegar with baking soda. These are all chemical changes, and see, they are mostly or all are irreversible, but physical changes, they are reversible. We will have a look at some chemical changes right now. So the first one that we have learned before also is rusting of iron. Deposition of a brown layer of iron is called rusting. Rust and iron are different. Rust is iron oxide. So when iron comes in contact with water, it results in the formation of iron oxide. Look into the chemical reaction that I have provided. Iron, when comes in contact with water, forms iron oxide and oxygen, and this iron oxide is the rust. So rust and iron hence are different. Iron is grey-black material, rust is reddish brown, and I believe everybody has seen rusting of iron, and it's a chemical and irreversible change. Once the rust is formed, you cannot get iron back from the rust, and there is an involvement of a change in chemical composition, so it is a chemical change. Now, how will you prevent rusting? The ways to prevent rusting is to prevent the iron from coming in contact with air or moisture, because the moment you stop that contact, you can prevent rusting. These are some of the ways of preventing rusting. First is painting. You can paint the iron products and prevent them from rusting. Second is greasing. You can apply grease or a lubricant on the iron surface so that it doesn't come in contact with the moisture. Next is galvanization. Galvanization can be done with the help of zinc metal. So a layer of zinc metal can be coated on the iron surface. This prevents rusting. Or alloying, maybe with stainless steel. Like I have seen, you see, I have provided a picture of utensils which are mainly covered up with stainless steel. These are forms of alloying. Alloying is also another method in which the iron is coated with another metal so as to prevent its direct contact with air. The next chemical change that we will learn is crystallization. What is crystallization? When a small crystal of salt is kept dipped in a saturated solution of salt, a big crystal of salt is obtained. What is a saturated solution? A solution in which no longer salt can get dissolved, meaning all the salt particles have already combined with the water and no more water molecule is available for combining with the salt. That is a saturated solution. So if you keep on adding salt to a saturated solution, the salt will not get dissolved, but it will get attached to the small crystal of salt and become bigger in size. Formation of big and pure crystals of a substance from its saturated solution. This is called crystallization, and it is a physical change. Why? Because no change in the chemical property is taking place and no new substances are also being formed. Let us have a look at this activity. Take some water in a beaker and very carefully add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid to it. Take help of your teacher. So in a beaker, some water is taken and dilute sulfuric acid is added to it. When the water starts boiling, add copper sulfate powder in it and stir continuously. So copper sulfate, blue vitriol, the one we have studied before, it is added to this water solution and continuously stirred. Continue adding copper sulfate till no more powder can be dissolved. Meaning what? We have to make a saturated solution of copper sulfate. Filter the solution and allow it to cool without disturbing. Observe the solution after some time. After some time, what are we going to see? We will see that crystals of copper sulfate are seen at the bottom of the beaker. So the copper sulfate crystals that were not dissolved in the water, they will accumulate together and form a bigger crystal of copper sulfate. This can easily be done in the laboratories. Let us have a look at a summary now. During a chemical reaction, as we had discussed, new substances form, and in a physical reaction, no new substances are formed. Examples of physical changes include when a substance melts or dissolves, like sugar dissolving in water or ice melting. During a chemical reaction, one or more of the following may occur: an energy change, that is heat given out or light given out, A gas can be released or a color change might be seen. Very, very important to note. A chemical reaction will usually provide these three results. That was it for this chapter, physical and chemical changes. If you all have any questions pertaining to the chapter, do not forget or hesitate to write down in the comment section. I will surely get back to you and answer all your questions. Until then, keep studying your chapter and have a very good day. Thank you.